Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be another Canadian Soldier Reacts video, and this one may upset some people because I haven't seen this video specifically, but I basically know what I'm about to look at, and I've said this before and it's upset a lot of people. I was in the 1st Battalion Royal Canadian Regiment from 1987 to 1998, and at that time, the Royal Canadian Regiment, the 1st Battalion specifically, was an SSF battalion. And we were trained to an extremely high standard. We had multiple people in our battalion who had both Green Beret training and Ranger training. And I'd say about a quarter of them came back with stories of topping their courses. So I know that this is one of the premier units in the United States, and I'm not taking anything away from them. I've got a lot of friends that have this training, and a lot of people that I've worked with in the United States, 10th Mountain Division specifically, several Marines that are good friends of mine. They are excellent, excellent people. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare this to the training that we did back in 1987 in 1RCR. So let's get into it. So this comes from, I'm not sure whether it's an official channel or not, but so what they're doing here seems to be reasonably basic fitness training. It's the kind of thing that we did all the time. And in fact, they're doing it with what appears to be light web gear. It looks like all they've got in there. So those are load-bearing vests, I'm assuming. They don't look like they're flak vests of any kind. And it looked like there was only 2 water bottles in it. This is a confidence course. Oh, whoa, stop. I'm just going to go back there for a second. What is that? So that is not how we were taught how to do it. You're not really getting a lot of pressure on that rope at all. It's not really helping you. And if you watch his hands as he's coming down, yeah, that's some rope burns right there. That's not real. That's not how we're taught to do it. So yeah, this one's a fairly standard confidence course, obstacle course. Obstacle. Interestingly enough, when we did it, we didn't have the these kinds of helmets. We used just our regular helmets, and at the time, we didn't even have the Kevlar helmets. We had the old metal piss pots. Ooh. So this is interesting. So this is telephone pole training, but we didn't have it on slings like that. We actually put it up on our shoulders. I'm not sure if, and we didn't have the lights either. And they're in t-shirts. So we weren't allowed to be in t-shirts for this. Oh, that's interesting. 2 men carrying the log. So we never did anything like this. I mean, we did a lot of taskings where we had to carry a bunch of things. This is an interesting thought. I don't ever remember anybody doing that specifically. And I'm really struck by the fact that they're all wearing t-shirts. Oh, wow. I'm sorry, I call this luxury. If you've got that's basically a cart. That's, wow. So there were times, we did this mostly in training. And we would do it for PT in the mornings, or we would do it as part of what were called small party taskings, basically platoon level taskings or lower, and we'd be given, like, I don't know, like a ton or half a ton of in a platoon, right, of gear to get from one place to another. Sometimes we did it where you didn't have to be tactical, and sometimes we did it where we had to be tactical. And there was a lot of breaking down of stuff and and slinging it to our rucksacks and things like that. But never were we allowed to go in our t-shirt sleeves like that.
What are we doing?
But this is the kind of thing that we did on an ongoing basis. Like, we did it in our TQ3 battle school training, and then we just continued to do it. But we never got... Now, I don't think we ever did 50-gallon drums. Jerry cans, like 50 gallons worth of jerry cans, yeah. Oh, and we would put real people across these things. And generally, they wouldn't be across something like that. It'd be across a river. Small unit tactics survival. So we did a lot of small unit tactics, right down to... Oh, so this is more Fibua style stuff. Fighting in built up areas. These are meant to simulate houses. Everything I'm seeing here so far are things that 1RCR did constantly. Water training, river training. I see a little bit of snow there, yes. Oh, this is not something that we did. Generally, we would... oh, hold on. So generally, what we would do is the helicopter would land and we'd either get in or out as necessary. I don't think we ever did anything where they picked us up like that. We would do rappelling out of helicopters a lot. We would do some fast roping out of helicopters, but the vast majority of the time, we'd be going in, we'd be landing. You'd have like 3 seconds to get out into your defensive positions, and then the helicopter would be gone. So what's this? Rapport is one of the most important features or characteristics. Unconscious human interaction. It's so this is interesting. They're teaching these guys how to connect with people. We never did anything like that. Now, granted, several of us probably needed to do something like that, but we didn't do anything like that. Oh, and this is for office. That's interesting. So they have to teach their officers how to do it. MOS training officer. Okay. MOS training officer. Well, this is interesting. So I wasn't an officer. I was an NCO. I was a master corporal, which would have been equivalent to an E5 in the American forces. I was qualified to be what you guys would call an E6, but I never got the promotion. So I can't really speak too well on what the officers went through specifically for training.
This is the SOC South mission.
Weapons sergeant. So I'm curious if anybody's gone through this training or knows anything about this training specifically. Let me know in the comments down below what they mean by weapons sergeant, because quite honestly, every single person in the battalion got this training. So I'm not quite sure what they mean here. Now, after you get your 6A, which is your leadership course, you can get, in order to be a sergeant in Canadian Forces, what the Americans will call a master sergeant. I think first sergeant. Sorry, first sergeant. It's 3 up, 1 down, E6. You would need to get your small arms instructor's course. That's something I never got. And you would do, more specialized, higher level training. But again, everyone who got that rank, or who wanted to be eligible for that rank, had to get that training. They're looking through binoculars at... Oh, yeah, so I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I've always wondered about this training because, honestly, if you can't hit every one of those targets with a snapshot, with 2 snapshots, at that distance, you don't deserve to be there. And everyone in our battalion could do that. And we didn't, though. I mean, what's this? I'm not quite sure what that is. Engineer Sergeant. Is that? Oh, okay, that's interesting. So what he's doing right there is he's using gun tape to tape det cord to the door. Det cord is, it looks like a coaxial cable, just a small round. It's slightly smaller than your pinky finger, and it looks like the cable that you use for your TV, but it's all completely made out of explosive, and that's actually what's used to. You put your blasting cap on one end of the det cord, and then you run the det cord out to where you've got your igniter at, and then you run your whatever wires or whatever other method you got for your ignition out past that. And then the blasting cap will go into your high explosives. And that way you're able to stand off a lot more. But det cord can be used for a lot of other things. We used to use it for cutting down trees. This guy's using it for opening doors. And that can be used for small, like, how would I want to say soft core, like open core doors. Probably not for a solid core door, to be honest. I don't think it would go through. But if you wanted to do something like that, you would use a shaped charge. Sometimes we called it a ribbon charge, but basically you take your C4 and you would build it up into a triangle, basically, on the whatever it is you want to cut. We could cut with that. I think the largest we cut was 1.5 inch cold steel. With something like that. And then we do some other things. So we got that training in our pioneer course. Now, we had engineers that would be attached to us when we did brigade level exercises or brigade level deployments. But when we were at a battalion level, we had the basics of all of these things in the battalion. So this would have been pioneers. Yeah, he's just going to take that right off its hinges. Yeah. And yeah, you saw, it's just 2 1/4 inch sheets of, or 1/8 inch sheets of plywood. Okay, so this is a construction engineer. Yeah. So they're looking at construction engineering principles. So this is a level higher than my battalion would have had, but the engineers who are also on the same, and electrical, yep. The engineers who are also on the same base would have gotten that kind of training. We basically did field construction, okay. So medical sergeant. Again, everyone was trained in advanced level first aid, and then we had medics, nurses, and doctors who would have been attached from the medical battalion. From the base hospital or the MIR or whatever it was. Yeah, so yeah, we would have, like, everyone could do this, and then we would have a medic attached to us who had even better training. Okay, communications. Again, we had a communications platoon. I was qualified as they call it a signaler. I was qualified as a signaler, and we would do, so this is an HF set that you're looking at. You can tell by the antenna. Sorry. HF or UHF? I'm forgetting now. One of them has a short antenna, and then the other one has like either a 10-foot antenna or it can actually have a long wire. And I think it's HF and VHF. Huh, I'm getting so old I can't remember. Culmination exercise Robin stage. So it looks like these guys have people in there that are other than infantry getting this training all at the same time, which is kind of interesting. Oh, whoa. I'm going to guess that's enemy force? I don't know. We never did anything like that. Like we did fighting in built up areas, how to clear houses, assault built up positions, things like that. But never would we drive in the back of an open pickup truck and tumble out while we're under fire like that. That actually almost looks like a Kiowa helicopter. No, I don't think it's a Kiowa. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not Air Force, so I don't know. And then graduation. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like these guys have a lot of extra trades basically in this training. Which, no, there's mine back there, right there. My whole unit wore Green Berets, just like that one. Now this was specialized training. You only got this training if you asked for it and then were recommended for it. And then once you did that, that qualified you to go. When I first got in, it qualified you to go to the commando. And then once the commando got disbanded, Canadian Airborne Regiment. Once that got disbanded, then each of the commandos went back to their brigades, regiments, as jump companies. So if you got this training once we went back to the jump companies, you would be eligible to go to the jump company. But not everyone who got their jump wings did. So you would have white wings. I don't want to call them that. You'd have wings with a maple leaf in the center, and the maple leaf would either have been red, indicating what's called a cherry jumper, someone who's qualified but has never jumped with the regiment or jump company, and then you would have a white jumper. I don't know if they called it something else. Again, I wasn't one. I've been skydiving, but I don't have my military jump course. And that the white indicated that you actually jumped with the regiment or with the jump company. So yeah, that is the U.S. Army Special Forces Assessment and Selection for the Green Berets basic training. It looked remarkably similar to exactly what 1RCR was doing back in the late 80s and the early 90s. So, and that doesn't surprise me because at that time, 1RCR was one of the two SSF battalions, actually. It was 1RCR and the Canadian Airborne Regiment. I don't think PPCLI or the Vendus had an SSF battalion. I could be wrong. I could stand to be corrected on that. If someone knows, let me know. But we had some pretty good training, and there were some pretty hard charges in there. I would call myself a mediocre soldier in that battalion. There were some people in there that were way better than me. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, please leave a like down below. Hit subscribe. It really helps the channel. Love to get above 1,000 subscribers. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye.